Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today, more news about the legacy of Phrecia event that is coming hopefully very soon. And today's post is not about the preview of new ascendancies, it's about the change of the endgame system or endgame specialization system. Let's read. The Legacy of Phrecia event will feature a new system for specialization in endgame content, replacing the existing Atlas passive skill tree. As you progress through the endgame, you will find idols which can be placed into a new tab on the map receptacle UI to modify your maps. So I guess these are just like not really the idols, these are just like blockades as we know it from the Sanctum. So the further you go, probably when you push into T16s or whatever, you're gonna unlock more and more, or these will just like disappear. And then you can place in idols, which is very similar to the Sanctum. Magic idols can have up to 2 modifiers, rare idols can have up to 4 modifiers, and there are unique idols for keystones from the Atlas passive skill tree. Idols are tradable, but they are not modifiable. So here is a little bit of a preview of these idols. Abyss cracks in your maps at 3% chance to spawn all monsters as at least magic, then Delhi. So basically all that is existing in the Atlas passive tree will be put into those idols, and I think they're going to be a lot stronger than the actual passive tree nodes. So let me explain. Basically, I don't know how many points we have in the Atlas passive tree right now. I think like 130 or something, you know. And you're not gonna have as many spots here. So you have those idols with 4 nodes, and I guess they're gonna be stronger. So I think at the very end game, if you, let's say, specialize in Delirium and you place in all the Delhi nodes, which are obviously or most likely stackable, and then you're gonna have even stronger and better deliriums than you would have with the current Atlas passive tree, as long as you spec into that, right? But this will come with a lot of downsides, but I'm gonna go over those after we read through all of this. Here is the crop rotation, which is like a keystone, I think. Harvest crops in your maps contain only tier 1 plants, and harvesting crops in your maps have a chance to upgrade the tier of plants of different colors. Then this is a pretty drastic change to how the endgame will play, given the Atlas tree has such a fundamental part of the endgame for some time in many different formats and versions. One of the major changes is that it turns specializing into different leagues to be less deterministic because it relies on you finding items. On the other hand, it adds layers of excitement to item drops in the endgame not previously there. This allows you to have an infinite number of different endgame loadouts for content, no more respecking your tree at all. Now just take out the idols you don't want and put in the ones you do. You'll probably end up with a set of idols for each league. With the Atlas tree, you can only get so much of a given stat because that's how much we put onto the tree, but with this system you can get a lot more certain things, pushing limits and boundaries further than ever. For example, if you want to have all essences on monsters be at the highest possible tier, a much higher number of blueprints you find to be fully revealed, and so on and so forth. So here we have another one with chance to be openable again, so you could probably stack those to not infinity but quite a lot, so you can really open those things quite often, and so on and so forth, with rerolling favors additional time if you have like 10 of those, you know, because they're not like limited to 1 or something, so you can really specialize heavily into whatever you want. Given that this is an opportunity for us to let you play with more development concepts, you can rest assured you'll find a bunch of broken outcomes in true Path of Exile fashion. Full disclosure, due to these features being experimental for this event, we haven't done the layers of quality of life that we would normally try to do to accompany it. For example, you would want different inventories for different league sets or loadouts, but instead during this event you will simply have to do it, the inventory management yourself. Based on the popularity of the system, we can add more of these features in the future to streamline it to minimize item micromanagement. Given that players afterwards will likely want to experiment with the Ascendancy classes or the alternate endgame mechanic individually, we will be adding both of these as private league options sometime after the event. We're posting the full details of the Legacy of Phrecia event later this week, and we'll be testing or teasing some more of the event ascendancies in the meantime. If you missed them, the teasers can be found here, which is basically the 4 that we already covered. So what is the downside here? What is the upside here? And what does that mean for the event or even the future of Path of Exile 1 or 2? So I get this feeling that this could be a potential endgame system planned for Path of Exile 2, which will be tested in the event. I also think, or have a feeling, that a lot of ascendancy nodes that will be now basically from scratch, basically, or from the draw board, that could have been a thing at some point but wasn't until now, and that these could be ascendancy nodes or points or even ascendancy names and stuff like that for the upcoming missing classes and ascendancies for Path of Exile 2. So I was actually thinking about this could be an additional inventory to just put in your maps and stuff like that. But as I said, or we read through here, it's going to be idols and the Atlas passive tree is removed. So what is the problem here? Usually when the league starts, you do a different version of an Atlas passive tree than you do once you start farming. For example, for me, I usually go with like shaping the skies, shaping the mountains, shaping the seas, which are individual nodes that give, or potentially maps that drop are a tier higher, which will basically help you filling out your Atlas. This is now gone. Then in Solo Self-Found, for example, you're completely bound to find whatever you want other than getting those Atlas passive trees and just specking what you want, right? Another thing is, in the trading aspect, these will be tradable objects, and they're going to have a price based on the rarity, based on the mods on it, based on the rolls, because they're not modifiable at all. But with the Atlas passive tree that we have, we can just get this for free, you know? So you just progress through the Atlas, you do the certain challenges, whatever, your first Guardian and whatnot with favorite map slots and so on and so forth. Not saying that this is not going to be a thing, but listen, it is completely free, and we have multiple passive trees, and yes, they are respeccable forever you want to farm. Here it is more like, I want to try something out, I need to buy those, I need to find those, I need to trade those, so that the trading effort is going to be insane. And in the start, probably a lot of those will maybe have like a mod which says chance for connected maps to drop, or for maps dropping a tier higher, so you would probably need idols to sustain your maps, and so on and so forth. And naturally, with the Atlas passive tree, as it works right now, you can make different trees. So you say, hey, I'm running out of maps, let me pull in my loadout for map sustain. I run like 20 maps and I get like 50 of my connected maps back, and I can continue with my farming routine. Then with the influence of streamers, there is going to be certain mechanics that will shine more or less, which make those idols very, very, very expensive. But this is like always like a niche thing. For example, if everybody is doing Magic Find T17 with strong boxes, you know, the strong box idols are going to be ridiculously expensive. So there's going to be like some Magic Find meta turning out maybe. But that also means that all the other stuff is going to be less price in terms of the idle cost, but will be giving you a lot more demands per hour, because if there's only like a handful of people farming harvest seeds because the idols are maybe cheap or whatever, or essences and stuff like that, you can make a shit ton of currency based on that. But as I said, it's going to be a hell lot of trading, and I don't know if I'm feeling that too much. But in the end of the day, it is an event. There's going to be fancy new stuff. There's going to be completely broken things. And as far as I know, or read somewhere in the previous videos, it was like a 30-day event. So regardless of the outcome, I think it's going to be a great event. And I'm looking forward to the next teasers. But I'm not certainly sure if this is a great way to do it. But as I said, it could be just like a handful of things that we're testing now in this the Legacy of Phrecia Event for potential endgame systems for Path of Exile 2. And yeah, this is basically it for today's video. A bit of like a pro and cons about this system. But I guess it's gonna be, yeah, something different, and looking forward to trying out new things. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.